abroad now to the United Kingdom, where a strike by ambulance staff is underway. Life-threatening 999 calls in England and Wales will be attended to, but other emergencies such as slips on icy pavements may not be. Freezing temperatures are still affecting parts of the UK, and the households have been offered discounts on bills if they reduce power usage. Let's speak to our correspondent Ollie Barrett just to give us more details about both these points. Ollie, thank you very much for your time. Let's firstly talk about the ambulance strike. How is it really affecting services for those who need healthcare in both England and Wales?
Yeah, well, this is now one of the areas of the economy that's seen repeated strike action. We are seeing health sector workers take part, and today it is, as you say, another ambulance workers strike. And what is happening is that those most high-level emergency calls will still be responded to by the staff that are remaining on duty in the ambulance service. But if you are calling the 999 number and it's considered not to be necessarily an emergency that would merit an ambulance getting out very, very quickly, then that will be something that will not see an ambulance sent to one of those calls. Those people will be advised to take their inquiries in other directions in the health service. So certainly it's having a major impact, but at the same time, as I say, those most high-level emergencies are still being responded to by ambulance workers. What we've seen in the previous rounds of strikes by ambulance workers is that actually the public have been taking part in trying to mitigate the effects of all of this by making sure that they are calling emergency numbers only when is absolutely necessary. So we haven't seen huge disruption as a result of the strikes, but one thing that it does do is feed through into an ongoing crunch for the National Health Service here in England and Wales. We're seeing huge pressure on the NHS because of COVID, because of the effects of lockdown. Backlogs and waiting lists really have built up in the NHS. So all of this does add to that pressure and does make it harder for the NHS to ease some of those backlogs. As I say, that skeleton staff really in place today to try and make sure that those significant emergencies do still get ambulance call-outs if and when they need them.
And Ollie, you know, something else that South Africans would find very interesting if our government at least promised us discounts on bills if we use less power. You know, we have a power crisis. How are they explaining that this would work?
Yeah, this is all part of the contingency planning that was put in place heading into this winter to try and make sure that there weren't going to be any power blackouts for the economy, given the challenges with regards to spiking prices, but also difficulties in supply, given the UK, like many other countries in Europe, rapidly moving away from Russian gas and oil supplies. And what the authorities here are saying is that some customers, around 1 million households in total, will be offered essentially discounts on their bills if they use less power between 5 and 6 p.m. this evening local time. That's because that's a peak time for power usage, and so those households will be doing things like avoiding using ovens or avoiding using dishwashers, for example, at those times to reduce their own power usage and therefore help keep pressure off the overall power grid. Now, you'll remember that heading into this winter, there were contingency plans going on which did see the possibility of some power blackouts for the UK economy. We haven't seen any of them at all. Part of that is because of the contingency plans that were put in place. Part of that is because this winter has actually been much milder than was expected, much milder than normal. So actually the amount of power that most households have been using was lower than expected. But this is a scheme that the authorities here are putting in place so that they have that ability to just ease some of those power supply crunches at particularly busy times of the day, because although it has been a milder winter up up to now, this has been a very cold week for UK households. We've been seeing temperatures well below freezing overnight in the last few days, and that's set to continue for a couple of days yet. So as we see this very cold weather now, right in the middle of winter, and as we see those peak power times looming, this is what the authorities are doing to try and make sure that we don't see any power outages for the wider economy, unplanned ones or indeed planned ones. This is all designed to try and make sure that the lights stay on.
All right, Ollie Barrett, our UK correspondent, thank you. Let's leave it there for now. I think both you and I will agree, you and I at home would agree that if our government would give us that type of incentive, we probably will, start using power a little less than we already do. All right.